All right, perfect. So the first thing I want to say is here at Career Services, we use guidelines provided by the National Association of Colleges and Employers. They are an organization that have created a bridge between universities, higher education institutions, and employers. And they help those two communicate, find out, they do surveys, they find out what is it that employers want to see, what is it that the students are coming to their jobs with, what competencies, what skills, and which ones also they're lacking. And they have all kinds of conversations regarding resumes, cover letters, all of that. So we use those guidelines, but we also use feedback that we have obtained from industry professionals. And we get those opportunities to interact during career fairs and employer info sessions. And with all that information in mind, we have come up with the resume format that is very, very simple. And we recommend it to all our students and alumni. And that's the format that you guys have in front of you, and the one that you should have received on that first email that came from your instructor. So I would like to say, because of technology has completely changed the field of recruiting. And now for any given position at any time, recruiters are having to go through hundreds of applications, hundreds of resumes. And due to that, most companies now use an applicant tracking system. And some companies may even have an artificial intelligence component as part of those applicant tracking systems. So I'm sure most of you, if not all, have heard about how some companies will have, resumes will go through those applicant tracking systems and get filtered out if they don't meet all the keywords, if they don't show that they're a good match. So we don't know, not all companies have that, but we don't know if the company that we're applying to may have it. So it's important to keep in mind all those things and write a resume that it's gonna do well if it goes on, and as it goes through that applicant tracking system, but it's also going to be a resume that once it's on the hands of that recruiter, they're going to be able to find that information that is critical in an easy and quick way. So according to experts, recruiters are only spending between 7 to 15 seconds when they do that initial review of a resume. And that's just the time that they do to decide, okay, this resume goes to the yes pile or it goes to the no pile. So again, with all that in mind, we have put together this format, and we recommend against the use of Word templates or any other template that you download that kind of helps you to build a resume, that you just fill in certain areas. And the reason for that, again, is the use of those applicant tracking systems. When information is incorporated into columns or headers and footers of the page, when those resumes go through those applicant tracking systems and get scanned, that information can get out of order, can get all messy. So and it's also more difficult for us to keep up with our resume, to keep updating it when we have all those different sections. So it's just not recommended. So I'm going to go over each section, and then after that, I'm going to show you a sample of what it would look like once it's put together. So of course, we recommend to begin with the contact information, first and last name. It is not necessary to include a full address, simply city, state, and zip code, and of course, a good phone number and a good email address. And it's not here, but we see it more and more, the link to LinkedIn. That's also recommended to be up here with the contact information. After the contact information, we recommend to include an abstract statement, and on that abstract statement to list the 4 things that are most important to a recruiter. And those are the degree that you're currently pursuing, your current work position, if you're currently employed, your target position, and it can also include the name of the company. So it can be very specific, or it can be more general. And then those skills and qualifications that are relevant to that target position. So think of this abstract statement as a movie trailer. So it's that little bit of information that they can quickly look at, and based on that information, that recruiter is going to make the decision: do I want to continue reading the entire page, or this is not going to be, something I want to go on with. So we want to give them information so that they say, yes, I'm going to take a look at everything that this person has to say on this resume. After that, we see a lot a skills section included, and we particularly think that if the skills are very, very critical, if they apply to that position, if they're very relevant, then they can be included as part of the abstract statement. Otherwise, they can also go as part of the work experience bullet points. So we don't think it's necessary to have a skill section. However, if the student feels strongly about listing those skills, we recommend for all of them to be technical. So soft skills or competencies, professionalism, communication, teamwork, equity and inclusion, all those things that are very important, that are transferable, that are going to be crucial, and that for sure are going to be discussed at some point as part of the interviewing process. But those are things that should not be listed under the skills section. Listing words without a context, that's something that anybody can do, and it's taking up valuable space from your resume that could perhaps be used for other information that is more relevant. Right after the abstract statement or the skill section, if one is to be included, we recommend to continue with the education. And the reason for that, it's in your case because you're currently enrolled as a student. So we recommend to list it in this format. And I'm going to be emailing all these documents to you again after this meeting is over. The GPA is optional. If the job or the internship asks for it, then of course that should be included. And if not, as a general rule, if it's above a 3.0, it's okay to include it, or otherwise it's better to leave it out. Related coursework is a section that we recommend, especially when our previous work experience does not directly align with what we're trying to do or with that degree program with our major. So it is a way to demonstrate that we are acquiring skills through our education, and that, thanks to that, we're a good fit for that position that we're applying for. It is important not to list, we see sometimes all the courses that have been taken in the past. Again, what we need to think, as with all the other resume sections, is everything should be relevant. As we tailor a resume, if that course that was completed has value, when you think of that job description of that internship or job, then by all means include it, otherwise to leave it out. Then comes the work experience. For the work experience, we recommend to go back 10 years and to do it in reverse chronological order, starting with the most recent or current job experience. We recommend to list it as the company name and location, the dates, and then the position title, and then the bullet points, of course. For the bullet points, we recommend to begin each one of them with an action verb. And that link, if you guys follow that, it gives some ideas. Sometimes we get stuck using the same verb over and over. If we do that, then what we should try to do is analyze each bullet point and see if we can combine them. So if we have manage, then perhaps some of those bullet points can be combined into just one stronger bullet point. And if it doesn't have to be manage, then it's a good idea to look at other verbs that can be used that are also powerful and that have the same meaning, and that just makes our resume look better, more professional. So that would be our first recommendation there. quantitative statements, when possible, it is a great idea to do that, because if we provide quantitative statements, we're giving that recruiter or hiring manager a better idea of the scope of our responsibilities. So it's, it's one thing to say that you had to do a presentation, and another thing if you say you had to present in front of 20 or 30 people. So things like that, or if you had to train, or if you're a leader of a group or of a team, then how many team members, those kinds of things. So we don't have to work with money, we don't have to work in sales. There are other ways that we can add quantitative statements to our experiences, and if you guys follow that link there, it gives you some recommendations for that. This third one is extremely important, and one that a lot of us are guilty of, and it's our bullet points should not sound like we took them from the job description, that from a current job. So it should not be duties that what you have to do on a daily basis. Those bullet points are giving you an opportunity to show your skill. What skill did you apply, and what was the result? What was the accomplishment? So we should use that opportunity that each bullet point gives us, and not just list exactly what we had to do, because we're just saying this is what I have to do, this is what they asked from me, but we're not really saying, but this was the result of my actions. So we should try to think of, in that way for each bullet point. Then we recommend to stay around 7 bullet points per work experience. That may sound really hard to do for some, but again, if we're tailoring that resume, if we're really analyzing every single piece of information and deciding what stays and what goes based on how relevant it is, then it shouldn't be that hard. And then punctuation is not necessary at the end of each bullet point. So we get asked a lot, there's some students that will say, well, I have a work experience that is older than 10 years, but that aligns with my target position or the type of industry that I'm trying to transition into. So in that case, it is perfectly okay to include that, but we recommend to do it under additional experience, and to only include the name of the company, the location, and the title, and to omit the bullet points. Then there's 3 sections that are all optional but highly valuable. So if there is any volunteer experience, we recommend to list that. Any professional organization affiliations, that as well, and any awards. So and here you guys can see the format that we recommend for that. When it comes to the length of the resume, 1 to 2 pages is okay. More than 2 pages, that is only recommended for federal jobs or for jobs in academia. So anything other than that, it should not go over 2 pages. And again, that may sound hard to do at first, but when we go back and think about how we need to be tailoring that resume, then it shouldn't be a problem to stay with those 2 pages. Any questions about the what I just went over?
Yeah, I had a question about the abstract.
Okay.
And the total experience profile. So
Okay.
if we have more than 10 years of experience,
Mm-hmm.
can you is it recommended to highlight that in the abstract, but only include 10?
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's a great point. Yes, definitely. That's a great question. Okay, so now can you guys see what it says, Ernie graduate, the document?
Yeah, I can. I think Tyler also had a question.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Tyler, go ahead.
I can say it for him. Would a PMI organization / chapter be considered important to be on the organizations section?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So when it comes to any type of information, we're always going to have to do a balancing act, right? So we're going to have to decide, okay, what is more critical, right? So if we're, let's say we're about to go over those 2 pages, so then we may have to compare those 2 things and decide, okay, well, this is great and this is important, but here's this other information that I think is more relevant to that target position. So we may have to make that determination, right? And then decide, sometimes leaving some things that could be beneficial, but are not as critical as others. But definitely, yeah, that's something that I would mention if you have the space available to do so. All right. So is it okay to continue?
Yeah, he said his mic is not is off. So
Oh, thank you. Okay, perfect. Okay, so can you guys see now the Ernie graduate sample resume?
yeah, I can see it.
Okay, thank you. So this would be everything I just went over, but the way that it's going to look, right? So again, contact information. So this student is pursuing about a Master of Business Administration in Aviation, and he currently works, or she currently works, as a customer service management professional, and they're seeking a full-time position in aviation operations or aviation safety. So we go on to mention that they have military leadership and military aviation experience and knowledge in management of aviation safety operations. And then we include some of those certifications or licenses that are relevant to that target position. Like I mentioned before, so we skip the skills section and we go right into the education, starting with the most recent, which is of course that master's, followed by the Bachelor of Science. Here is something that I think I'm going to get rid of that. I don't think it's necessary to have an associate degree listed when you're already pursuing a master's degree. So I think this would be more recommended for, an undergraduate student. Oh, and I didn't mention that, but the rule for the education section is we should only include degrees and certificates that have been completed or that are currently in progress. So if we attended another school before Embry-Riddle and we completed some courses, even if we were just one course before graduating, if we did not graduate, then we should not be listing that school or that experience under education. So as you guys can see, that's followed by the professional experience section. We have the name of the company, location, the dates of employment, the title, and then we have here 3 bullet points. They start with different verbs, every single one of them, and they contain those quantitative statements that we discussed. They not only show what the person was doing on a daily basis, but they show the impact, and they even say, for example, here, they were able to increase customer satisfaction rating from 60 to 85%, things like that. This particular student only has 2 well, because they've been for so long on their jobs, then they only needed to list those 2 experiences. That's fine. Here they had those jobs that are older than 10 years, but are relevant to their goal, to their career goal. So they went ahead and just listed the title, the location, and then they're involved in the community. So they went ahead and listed that. Any questions about the sample? All right, so then the last thing we have is to go over the cover letter. And let's see. Okay, and that is very self-explanatory. Can you guys see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
The cover letter. Okay, perfect. So we can take the contact information from the resume, we can copy and paste it. And then, like I said before, if you guys are doing this exercise with a job description, you can even find information or, make up this information about who the hiring manager is, their email. And then we recommend to begin with the first paragraph, just of course introducing ourselves, telling them who we are, what our expertise is, and how we found the job. If we found it through LinkedIn, of course, if we know somebody in the company, or Handshake, Indeed, whatever platform we used. Then the second part, and that's not a absolutely necessary, but if we have that information and we provide it, that's something that the recruiters appreciate on their end. The second paragraph, we are responding directly to the job description. So we're letting the hiring manager or recruiter know how our previous experiences, our skills fit that. And we can even take a couple of those bullet points if we think that they're very critical and that we need to bring that to their attention again on our cover letter. We can even copy and paste a couple of those. Then the third paragraph we mentioned, we call that one going the extra mile, but it's really something that we should do. Should be just a very standard thing to do, which is research the company, find out if they've been in the news for something, if they received a grant, if they're working on a project, if they have been selected as one of the best places to work, anything like that we can show we've done our homework, we have invested our time, and we're really passionate, we're very interested. And so anything that we can use to show that it's a plus. And then for the last paragraph, we call that the call to action, where we're just saying, I would love the opportunity to interview for this position, and we can go ahead and repeat that contact information once again. So that's it for the cover letter. Did you guys have any questions about that? And I can go ahead and stop the recording now.